U.S., President Trump is set to expand the deployment of National Guard to 19 states in an effort to assist DHS and local police in their crime and illegal immigration crackdown. So, of course, the left is really freaking out that President Trump might solve the crime crisis nationwide. Democrats who run these high-crime cities, yes, even in overall red states, are absolutely terrified at what will happen if their constituents realize the lawlessness, the danger, and the violence they have lived through isn't inherent or inevitable, but rather allowed, aided, and abetted by their horrible leaders. For them, making you safer is a real problem, a real threat to democracy. So, in the eyes of the left, this is a touching and tear-jerking homecoming video of their Maryland man, alleged gangbanger, human trafficker, wife-beater, illegal alien Kilmar Abrego-Garcia. You know the way us normal people get emotional watching our U.S. service members come home to their families after risking their lives overseas fighting for our freedom? That's how the left feels about Abrego-Garcia over there. It's pretty sick, actually. But the love fest is just about over because word on the street is their golden boy is about to be going on another vacation, but this time with a one-way ticket to the beautiful African paradise of Uganda. His lawyer, who we are likely paying for, is super ticked off about it, though.
It is preposterous that they would send him to Africa, to a country where he doesn't even speak the language, a country with documented human rights violations. We are going to resist that in every way possible, and we hope that everyone who's supported him this far will continue supporting him and will continue resisting the weaponization of the immigration system to try to tear apart this family.
So is he...
That makes just crystal clear that what they're trying to do here is punish him. They're trying to use the deportation system, and specifically they're trying to use which country they're planning on deporting him to as a means of punishing him for exercising his constitutional rights. That's not permitted. That's not allowed. We're going to fight tooth and nail against any form of deportation to Uganda.
To Africa, where he doesn't even speak the language. The horror. I think it's only fair to point out that while he's been residing in our country, it doesn't appear he's mastered our language either. Also, it's pretty rich to complain he's being sent to a foreign country after the all-out tantrum the Democrats threw when he was deported to his home country of El Salvador. Remember that? They said he wasn't safe in El Salvador due to the threat from violent rival gangs, but they also assure us he isn't a gang member. The mental gymnastics there is Olympic level, truly. But I think I speak for most of us when I say we do not give one hot damn where they send him, if he's safe when he gets there, if he speaks the language or likes the food or has the right thread count sheets or feels comfy. Not one care. Get him out now. Joining me now is Front Page Index editor-in-chief and political commentator Alex Datig. Alex, it's so great to see you. Were you crying this morning when you saw Kilmar Abrego-Garcia be detained by ICE? I know it was an emotional morning for the left.
Well, first I want to say, Tommy, thank you so much for having me on your show. I am a huge fan of yours, and I've been watching you for years from OAN to now. So thank you. Salute to you from Front Page Index. Thank you. I am just, crying salty tears. And I mean salty tears, because Abrego-Garcia he's the poster child of everything that is wrong with our immigration system. If you read his biography on, any web page, you can see this guy's been scared his whole life. He was scared in El Salvador from gang members who tried to extort his mother's business. He then claimed to be too scared to save his mother's business, to then come to the United States illegally to become a day laborer and a sheet metal worker, according to what I'm reading. He marries a woman in 2019, I think it is 2019, and in the same year has a kid with her. She's an American citizen, and this is the same year that he's facing deportation. Deportation. So let me see. The year he gets deported, he decides to marry an American citizen. Gee, where have we heard that one before? She has 2 kids by another man, and he fathers a child with her. But now he is the Maryland dad, right? He's the dad from Maryland, who everybody should feel sorry for. And what really got my dander up this morning, Tomi, is that his rally goers this morning said, well, we are all Kilmar Abrego-Garcia. I don't think so. We are not. I immigrated to the United States legally when I was 15 and a half years old. I'm a foreign-born American citizen. I have a United States birth certificate issued by the Secretary of State of the United States in 1970. Okay, so I've been here since 1986. Legally, and I've been a victim of immigrant crime. I live in Los Angeles, lived here in LA County for over 37 years, and I've just seen this county just deteriorating after we became a sanctuary city. And if you want to know what's wrong with Los Angeles, I try to paint it pink in my background so it looks a little better. But everything that is wrong with sanctuary cities is people like Abrego-Garcia.
Yeah, when they're saying things like, we are all Kilmar Abrego-Garcia, in my mind, I'm like, well, send Tom Homan then, because maybe some of you are in this country illegally.
Exactly.
So my thing is this. If they want to play these stupid games and they want to cry for this guy, I think that should be a rallying call, a bat signal to ICE and DHS. Go there and check up on all these people. Which ones are the illegals? You know, if you're an American citizen and you are, you know, white as I am, standing out there trying to be like the resistor, I mean, you look foolish and you're stupid. We should embarrass you. But if you are there rallying for Kilmar Abrego-Garcia and you are also unlawfully in this country, you can go with him. Another thing that I think is so funny, that little lightweight lawyer that he has sitting there being like, oh, they want to send him to Uganda. Well, listen, he was deported to his home country of El Salvador, and you had a problem with it because you said that rival gangs were going to kill him, right? So he couldn't be deported to his home country. And so now it's like, well, who will take him? He had an offer on the table, a plea deal. He could have gone to Costa Rica. Maybe he would have liked that better. You know, a lot of people seem to like Costa Rica. Well, he didn't want to take that plea deal. So guess what? Now you're probably going to Uganda. I don't understand why we're even bargaining with these people. By the way, you're in this country illegally. You are a guest here. You don't get to stay. You don't get to pick which country you go to. If it's not your home country, you didn't want to go back there. Okay, well, guess what? We're going to spin the wheel. And maybe we spin the wheel and we end up with the worst possible country. And that might be your fate. But you chose that fate when you came into this country illegally and then allegedly committed more crimes while you were here. That body cam footage, by the way, out of Tennessee, I think it's pretty obvious what the dude was doing. Okay, we have to say allegedly. Watch the body cam video. He's got all these people packed into this truck. They don't speak English. They don't know where the heck they're going or why. They don't have luggage with them. It's like, oh boy, I wonder what's going on here. I don't think they're going to the Chuck E. Cheese. So please spare me this outrage over due process, due process. He's going to get his due process. He's been getting due process for 5 years now. It's time to say goodbye. And I hope the left feels super stupid when the Trump administration succeeds. They send him to Uganda. I hope all these people just feel ridiculous for how much time and energy they wasted on this guy. I think they're going to probably go to Uganda and try to get him back. What do you think?
Well, here's what I think. I think that the Department of Homeland Security is sending an important message with his deportation, because if you read through his bio and how he tried to stay in the country. And this was a fascinating, convoluted series of excuses and BS, Tomi, because when you read through the excuses, you begin to realize this guy is coached. And you begin to wonder, well, you know, how are all these people pouring into America? And what exactly are they being told in their home country that they can get from America? Look, my dad spilled his blood for this country. He was a combat wounded, Purple Heart decorated World War II veteran. And you know what? I'll be damned if I will have a soft heart for someone like that guy or anyone like him, because they're not coming here to see what they can give to America. They're just coming here to see what they can get. They send their money back home. They contribute nothing. They take up space. And I am sick and tired of these people. I am tired of it. I see it here in LA every day. I wake up in the morning. I hear everybody around me who's a day laborer or worker. Everybody speaks Spanish. You can't get a job in LA unless you speak Spanish in most places. That is not, why do I have to press 1 or 2 or whatever for English? You know, I am sick of this. It's time to clean up our cities like President Trump is doing in Washington, D.C., and he did here in Los Angeles. But there's so much more work to do because this place really is like Gotham City, even after President Trump tried to make an impression on the elected officials here. So I feel sorry for places like Chicago, New York. They are beholden to these policies that are just destroying our beautiful cities. And this illegal immigrant factor is a big part of it. And then, of course, with that, you can pile on to it with the replacement theory. You know, every time you heard Kamala Harris open her mouth, she never talked to American citizens. Everything was about black and brown people. Black and brown people were all like, you know, Gar-seeyah and all that. Hell no, we are not. We're a country of laws. We have a constitution by which we abide. We have traditions. We're family oriented. And that's what keeps America strong. Our military values, our core values of our country and our military, and what has protected our borders strengthens the foundation of our country. Democrats want to leave an entire generation behind. And as a matter of fact, they want to leave several of them behind because my generation, Generation X, was the first one that was dropped cold. Your generation was dropped cold and you went out and you fought for your generation. So we got to lift up our next generation. That is our job. But the Democrats want to lift up the illegal immigrants and the people who are coming here, robbing the taxpayer blind, taking all our services and goods, using our streets, our sewers, our farms, everything that we have. They come to take our resources and they say, well, you know, they pay taxes into the system. Well, yeah, you know, because Mexico issues a consular matricular card for them to pay taxes that we accept for them to pay the taxes. So the first thing that President Trump needs to do, he needs to do a vetting of that system. Why is Mexico giving illegal immigrants a card by which they can pay taxes when they then claim, well, I pay taxes into your system. That means I have a stake in your country. Hell, no, you don't.
Well, they're also, and the ones that are paying in whatever taxes, you know, most of them are taking a hell of a lot more. Not only are they sending their, you know, remittances back to their home country, but also they've got anchor baby children who are, you know, in the system, using the schools, using the resources, using the healthcare, using the infrastructure, using everything. And a lot of them are also taking entitlements through their American-born children, by the way. So it doesn't add up. I would also say this. It's not even just the people. It's people coming in from all over the world. And we want a robust immigration system. We want the best of the best to come here and make it better. We want people to come and share their talents with us and be Americans and live the American dream. I mean, that's so important. Unfortunately, when you have an invasion of over 10 million people under Joe Biden, I think that people and their compassion for immigration in general, it depletes a little bit. And that's a normal human response because we've been taken advantage of to such an extent. It's like we need a cooling off period. I also want to say this about the illegal alien that was allowed to stay and get a commercial driver's license in California who's doing the U-turns, okay? People in Florida. Florida doesn't put up with that crap. But what I think is so shocking here, there's a change.org petition, right? Almost 3 million signatures asking Governor DeSantis to have mercy on this guy, reduce his sentence. It shouldn't mark the rest of his life just because he did an illegal U-turn and people. That's really what they are petitioning for. Governor Ron DeSantis, when I saw them asking Governor DeSantis, I was like, that's hilarious. That's the last person on earth that's going to give leniency in this situation. But what does that say about our country? That we've got nearly 3 million people. They're going to log on to change.org and feel sorry for the illegal alien who was operating a commercial truck, did an illegal U-turn, and people. That's who they have compassion for. I don't recognize that kind of system in my country.
Well, I want to know if you voted, Tomi. I want to know how he got a commercial driver license in California because you have to have federal training for that. I looked it up. So how does this guy end up driving a truck? Maybe he was one of those COVID people, you know, because during COVID, we needed truck drivers like crazy. Maybe he was one of those, you know, people who got into driving a truck. I have really no idea how he got it. But what I want to know, is he a motor voter? Because that's another thing we need to do. We need to look at the system of motor voting. And by the way, in California, you have real ID. If you can't travel, you know, on a flight, you have to go through TSA, stuff like that. You need a real ID. For that, you have to show an American birth certificate. You have to show proof of citizenship. So I want to see this license, because when you have a California driver license that's verified through Real ID, you have a little golden icon, a little bear on the right-hand upper corner of your driver license. And that means that you're an American citizen. So, I mean, that's another very interesting way to vet these people and try to figure out, well, why are you here? How are you getting a driver license, a social security card? All of a sudden you're driving a truck and you're three people. And these people were between their 30s and early 50s. They had their life. They were in their golden time in their life where they could really still have a chance to be great Americans. And in the state of Florida, which is a thriving state, it is a catastrophe that this could happen in America, where someone like that who's in the country illegally, I think he was here since 2018. I was reading about it.
Yeah.
And it's just shocking to me that someone like that could just fall through the system, because COVID was the blessing for all of these illegal aliens, Tomi, because here in LA, you had people lining around the block. They give out benefits in LA by zip code. If you live in a certain zip code and there's enough people there who live on welfare, you can qualify for anything. So the Trump administration should take a really good look at some zip codes and what those elected officials are handing out for rent relief, food relief, cash assistance. Americans can't pay their bill, but an illegal alien can go and get, $300 to $700 cash relief within 3 days if it's an emergency. So you are letting people get away with things in this country without even realizing it. They hoodwink you, they game the system, and they take everything and robbing the American people blind. And I'm so glad President Trump is putting a stop to it, because we will not have a country left if we allow this to continue.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Well, and President Trump, and through the CBP One app, they've offered a very generous off-ramp for these people. You can even get some money to go back to your home country. There's no reason not to. Another problem we have in this country is the Democrats, they decide they want to be the party of socialism and, communism as well. And this has always been an undercurrent in the Democrat Party. You got the Bernie Sanders and the AOC, right? But now it's going mainstream. You've got Mamdani in New York City, probably going to end up being their mayor. But in a moment, I guess we can have some comedic relief. He tried to do a bench press I believe it was over this weekend, and, he really struggled there. Now, this is funny to watch, and it's not indicative of governance. This is whatever. It's just kind of funny for us to laugh at. But, the Democrat Party is really struggling with masculinity. They're really struggling to win back American men. And I'm not sure, when they have stars in their party like Mamdani, who can't even do an unassisted anything, I'm not so sure they're going to win back young men. Do you think that this is the kind of guy that's going to get young men back voting for D?
I'm worried about that guy. I have a feeling that his wife does all the heavy lifting, if you know what I mean. He is the most puny, wussy looking. I mean, if you put him next to RFK doing that bench press in Venice Beach, there's just no comparison. I think Eric Adams, the acting mayor, the sitting mayor right now, is looking at that. He's a former NYPD officer. He works out. You can tell he's out there all the time. He wants to eat healthy. And he's looking at that. He's like, God help that poor man. And look at his campaign ad on his website. By the way, that website art, his wife is a fine arts master's, and you can tell because his campaign art looks like something you put on a candy wrapper, not on a campaign. So, and then he wears a kind of a native garb in his campaign video. And it's pretty much a text. You could use that campaign for any state if you want a liberal candidate. It's a socialist platform. It's a boilerplate campaign message. We've heard it in LA. They hear it in New York. It's all the same talking points. So they've become the echo chamber in every state to campaign now with their talking points. And then this thing with the native garb, I can't even exactly tell, what this guy's ethnicity is about, but I think he has like Hinduism and he's from India or something that.
He's from Uganda. He actually has a kind of a mansion, a compound in Uganda. So
okay, yeah, I read something about that. Yeah, but I mean, he's like Hindu, right?
Well, I think he's from Indian descent. The thing about it is, I don't really care where he's from, to be honest with you. I don't care if someone comes to this country and they love this country and they want to advance this country. I don't really care what their background is. To me, the number one question is, do you love America and what we stand for? That's the important question here. From everything we've heard from this guy on his social media, not long ago, 3, maybe 4 years ago, he's saying, defund the NYPD, cops are racist, they are against queer liberation, whatever that is, and all of the positions that he's taking, whether it be seize the means of production or, call back NYPD, send out the social workers, all these things that are so un-American, that's what concerns me about Mamdani. And it concerns me for a thriving city like New York City, which is still the financial capital of the world, regardless of, the piss in the streets. They are still the financial capital of the world. And to me, letting somebody who is a self-proclaimed socialist, who has leanings of communism, leading the financial capital of the world, that terrifies me. Now, I'm normally one of those people that's like, if you want to elect this, reap what you sow, right? But I just think it's so terrifying that a major city, by all indications, this guy's going to be the mayor. And I don't know what that does to the morale of NYPD. I don't know what that does to Wall Street. I don't know what that does to people in their communities who want to feel safe. But that is my true concern about someone like a Mamdani or an Omar Fateh in Minneapolis. That's what terrifies me, that this is going to take hold. And we're not going to be arguing with Democrats anymore, who are just, to the left of us on social issues, or, maybe they're for progressive policies. I'm worried the Democrat Party is going to go in this direction, and it's going to be Republicans battling communism full out. And that terrifies me for our system.
Well, what I'm seeing, Tomi, is that the whole bench press, India, the hint of that is something about it reeks like Eric Garcetti, who was the ambassador to India, who also helped launch Joe Biden, who was best friends with Kamala Harris. And this whole, I'm just saying, like, he was ambassador to India, right? And yeah, I don't care where someone is from, as long as they're here legally and they abide by our laws and they do the things that you're supposed to do when you're an American citizen. They follow our traditions and they care about their neighbors and they act appropriately. They drive respectfully, and, their kids are educated and their life has meaning and they contribute. But what a candidate like Mamdani is advocating is that nobody contributes, that everybody can take something. Rent freeze, zero bail, no accountability. It's that open society model that is just crushing American values. It's crushing the meaning of America, these things. And it really bothers me. When I see this guy, he looks to me like a puppet. And that's what I'm saying. I think he's running on a platform and he's being duped, just like Kamala Harris was a puppet. She was being duped. This guy's being duped. He has no idea what's coming next. And that's what worries me about him.
Yeah, I think he's actually a lot smarter than Kamala, and that actually terrifies me more. But it remains to be seen what's going to happen in New York City. I hope they're not going to make a good decision. I don't think there is a good decision on the table. I love Curtis Lewa, but I don't think he has a chance. There's not a good decision on the table that's a viable one, but I hope they don't make the worst decision. I worry for New York City. I worry for the people that are there, because when all of this stuff fails, the people that are going to be left holding the bag are the people who are low income, the people that can't really leave, people that can't flee to Palm Beach. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be hurt most. So that is my major concern. But best of luck to you in Los Angeles, fighting the good fight in that state with your governor podcaster. Best of luck to that entire state, another state that we need to thrive, and I have major concerns about. But Alex, I appreciate you being with me. God bless you.
Thank you, Tomi. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right, folks. President Trump wants to send the National Guard to a deadly, lawless, crime-ridden city near you. It's time for final thoughts.
Breaking tonight, 1,700 National Guard troops are now set to mobilize across 19 states over the coming weeks. They are going to help Homeland Security execute a sweeping federal crime and immigration crackdown that is underway now. The order is effective August through mid-November, Fox News is learning. And a U.S. defense official tells Jackie Heinrich and Liz Frieden the National Guard being mobilized will effectively serve as a support pillar.
Yes, President Trump is set to expand the deployment of National Guard to 19 states in an effort to assist DHS and local police in their crime and illegal immigration crackdown. So, of course, the left is really freaking out that President Trump might solve the crime crisis nationwide. For them, making you safer is a real problem, a real threat to democracy. Now, if you recall, just a couple weeks ago, they were outraged that Trump was only cracking down on D.C. crime to punish the Deep Blue City and asked why he wasn't doing the same in high crime cities and red states. But now that he is expanding the support to the blue, red, and purple states of Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming, shocker, they are still big mad. That's because what they're really upset about is that this whole effort will work, that high crime, lawless cities will be saved, that social norms and decency will be restored, that residents, white, black, brown, gay, straight, Republican, and Democrat, will see with their own eyes their local leaders have failed them. Democrats who run these high crime cities, yes, even in overall red states, are absolutely terrified at what will happen if their constituents realize the lawlessness, the danger, and the violence they've lived through isn't inherent or inevitable, but rather allowed, aided, and abetted by their horrible leaders. If it works, and it will, it'll be really hard to put that genie back in the bottle. It'll be damn near impossible to crow on about big bad orange man when Trump's action and true leadership makes everyone feel safer in their communities, in their parks, their playgrounds, and on their streets. What happens if young people see the consequences of bad behavior and are scared straight? What happens if the whole mentality in these communities shifts for the better thanks to President Trump? That is what terrifies them most. If President Trump proves that any city in any state can in fact be straightened out and turned around with real law and order, Democrats are going to be painted into a real uncomfy corner, aren't they? When the truth comes in the door, the BS has got to go out the window. So open the windows. That day is on the horizon. Those are my final thoughts. Tune in live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Catch full episodes on Outkick and Fox Nation. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. From Nashville, God bless and take care. Hey, thanks for watching. For more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course, my final thoughts, click right here. And don't forget to subscribe. Just click right here so you never miss a beat. I will be here every weekday, and I hope you'll join me.